All right, speak now to MK Party's Ntlamulo Ndlela, joining us for a reaction. Ntlamulo, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. One would say, even without the court dismissing the urgency of the interdict, of course, pending the review application, you had already gone ahead, I suppose, firstly removing the MPs, and you say you spent money changing locks. You have put in replacements. You have already cut their salaries. They say they only got 12,000 that other month. So you had gone ahead even before this court ruling.
It's disingenuous of them to have made such remarks in the beginning. They put the cart before the horse. They misled the public by, firstly, even in that press briefing. We would do nothing of that nature. Look, in good nature, we allowed them, them knowing very well that it was going to be for a temporary measure to occupy the role of members of parliament. So why would we be at the last minute be punitive? We were not. These are just, like we say, recalcitrant, members who are ill-disciplined and who should have just engaged with the party leadership. And this is something that could have been resolved where they are either deployed elsewhere. It's not something that they didn't know. And I've mentioned also on this channel that we've engaged with these comrades and in a cordial discussion, they knew exactly what was coming. So for them to have reacted the way that they did was totally out of tune with the principles and the disciplines of the party.
So the court would have dismissed the application for an interdict to prohibit them from being, of course, replaced. But the review application still is going to go ahead. Do you see any chance of them succeeding there?
The review application? Well,
yeah.
I mean,
on their constitutional ground, they're saying that just administrative action was not given to them.
Look, from the onset, this was just dead in the water. We are focusing on our role as the official opposition. This is just a sideshow of individuals who were very opportunistic, clearly, because they were not in the party for purposes of advancing the agenda of, doing what we need to do, which is to emancipate our people. This is a selfless role. You can't, when you're deployed as a volunteer, now all of a sudden, and you're put there as a deployee, now think you're an employee. No one's an employee. So for them to have this sense of entitlement, thinking that they are special, more special than thou, that doesn't work this way in our party. That's not how we work here. They can go and do whatever it is that they want to do. But the fact of the matter here is the following. They're expelled. On whose ticket would they be going to the National Assembly in any case, even if they were to go to court? Who? Mkhonto weSizwe? Never. So the reality is they need to have actually consulted and engaged with the leadership of the party and, humbled themselves instead of, having gone out publicly and making a total spectacle of themselves and unnecessarily putting the party into disrepute. Yeah. So we're not going to tolerate any of that from any of our members. And anyone that takes us to court, as you'd have seen, the ANC took us to court, they lost. In the logo, they tried to take us to court on the name, they lost. They tried to take us to court on registration, they lost. Jabulani Khumalo tried to take us to court, he lost. Now they lost. Yeah. I mean, we're tired of having to be taken to court, knowing very well by people who know very well that they're going to lose continuously. The only court that we lost was obviously with President Zuma being on the ballot, which again, we know what happened over there. That case is still going to be pursued. But other than that, we need to focus on what we are here for. There's people with serious problems, serious challenges out there. And they've entrusted us as the official opposition, as Mkhonto weSizwe, to deal with their issues. These sideshows are nothing but exactly that, sideshows that don't deserve even the court to have a look at them. Yeah.
There's a note in the discussions on the court papers that says, despite the concerning picture painted by Mr. Zuma regarding the manner in which the MK party currently operates and makes decisions involving its members, it remains for the applicants to have shown the prerequisite for the interim relief sought. But I'm pointing to that particular aspect to say there seems to be a sense that there is a concerning picture around how decisions are made around members, how they are fired, how they are brought in, and so on and so forth.
No, but that's totally, again, I repeat, disingenuous of them to bring that to come to that conclusion. We have, at the time, we had a national interim leadership call that came and identified, who it is that needs to play what role. That's how we work. And that same national interim leadership call, because we're a new entity, gave the powers to the president. Obviously, we advised the president accordingly, and he would then take a decision. The president's first position when it came to these particular comrades, these individuals, was that the approach should not be punitive. They know how they ended up on the list, which was, as we've said, opened up a case because our list was compromised. They knew how they ended up on the list, but we engaged them as comrades and in a civil manner. But when it went to the point where they wanted to take us to court, unfortunately, that is something we could not tolerate. Now, when it comes to powers and decision making, I mean, we're allowed to give the power to the president. Look at the country's constitution. This country's constitution gives Cyril Ramaphosa the powers to hire a judge, regardless of what the Judicial Service Commission could say to him. They could recommend someone else, but he can decide because of the powers vested in him by the constitution to make that decision. So it's no different if we give President Zuma the powers to make a decision in terms of, based on our submissions, who and what he should do. So it's not alien.
Yeah.
It's even worse when it's in the hands of a person who's, quite honestly, from where we're sitting, a constitutional delinquent, such as Cyril Ramaphosa.
So you're saying it's not an indication of a lack of democracy within the party?
What you're saying is?
It's not a lack of democracy within the party, that decisions are made that way?
No, it's not a lack of democracy in the party at all. We lead by collective, but we draw from the wisdom of President Zuma. President Zuma is our leader. He is the political genius here, and he knows better because also the nature that he is as a selfless man. He would never just go and make decisions that are punitive. We guide the president. We share insights with him, and we guide in terms of what outcomes, in terms of decisions that he should take are.
Yeah. So as a collective, you do not question those decisions that he takes of who gets replaced when and how?
I don't know which part you never heard from what I said to you.
I'm just asking that for clarity. You're saying
no,
you value his wisdom. I'm asking, do you question it?
I'm saying to you,
yeah,
maybe you missed it. We consult amongst ourselves and we engage with President Zuma. We is plural, collective.
Yeah.
And we engage with him and draw counsel from him. So it's not a question of do we not question his decisions. Of course, we will engage him in a consultative role to say this is what our concerns are. The president is not a dictator. He's not a punitive man. He never has been. So that's why I say we lead as a collective. That's that.
Yeah. And what's going to happen now to these members? Is their door still open, as you said? If they had come and engaged their leadership, the matter would have been resolved amicably. Well, it has now gone to court. Is that door still open?
They're expelled.
And that's the end of it. They can't appeal. There's nothing that they can do about that particular aspect.
They're expelled. Until a later stage, we will decide. Based on how they even approach us, if they do approach us, we'll see what the merits of how they engage us is. But right now, they're expelled members who have brought the party into disrepute and who should have thought about whatever approach they want to take right now. Then they knew what happened with Jabulani Khumalo. It's not something that's alien. So why can't we apply parity when it comes to them in the same way we dealt with Jabulani Khumalo?
All right. Nhlamulo, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on and for that clarity there. Nhlamulo Ndlela, speaking on behalf of Umkhonto weSizwe Party on those 10 who have lost their bid in the court to try and get an interim order to interdict their removal from Parliament, being replaced, being prohibited to participate as members of the National Assembly, amongst other things.